Hello. In this video I'm going to be talking about Kdenlive, and we'll take you through a couple of nice features, one of which is proxying. On my machine, which is just a little laptop, it has no graphics processor of its own, and therefore it takes ages to preview anything at all when I'm working on the timeline. So I'm going to go to Project Settings, make sure that Proxy Clips is enabled, and I'm going to generate for videos larger than, and I'm going to put 500 pixels just to be manic, and same for images. Then I'm going to find my videos. I've got a couple here. Let me think. Pull in the rocks. Now, it's generating them very quickly because it's already generated proxies. So when it adds the P in the yellow there, that means it's now a proxy clip. The proxy clip is a lower resolution and allows you to scrub and preview much quicker than the alternatives. So I'm going to do the same thing for that, and the same thing for this. Very random footage. It's not meant to look like anything in particular, but it's good enough to illustrate, I think. So I'm going to drag the first one down onto the timeline. We've got 3 video tracks and 1 audio track here. I'm going to put this in the middle just for now. I'm going to right-click and split audio because I want to get rid of the audio in this case. Right-click again, ungroup clips, and delete the audio track. Boom. And here we have some fairly innocuous footage. I'm actually probably only going to start by taking the bit here, just to really demonstrate. So X is to use the cutting tool, S is to select. So I've cut and now selected and moved it to the beginning. And next I'm going to add a title clip. And you can click Show Background here, and it shows you where the cursor is on the timeline at that particular point. If we add text here, and I just write Spain, as it is Spain, it's already defaulted to a very low opacity rate because I wanted it that way in the last thing I did. And it's white. You can obviously make it any color that you choose, and any opacity level that you choose. So that's our little bit there. And just for fun, let's try and put it sort of on the water, as it were. So you can rotate the different values to try and get it sort of roughly where you want it to be. This is not going to be in any way presentable or perfect, but let's bring it up a bit that way as well. I don't know, something fairly random like that. There you go. So now we have our title clip, which is sitting there on its own. First things first, I suppose I'm going to just drag it down onto the timeline so we can see it over the water. There it is. If we play that, it just appears and disappears. There you go. Now I'm going to zoom in. That's Control and mouse wheel. Either side of the thing brings it up so that I can get a better look at it. And just add a basic wipe transition to it. So right click on the clip that you want to deal with. It needs to be above the clip that you're going to wipe, that you're going to transition to or over. And go to transition and wipe. Adds one at the end. I'm going to do it again, and it should automatically add one at the beginning because I want it to go in and out. So now we see an ugly transition with a very straight line coming in from left to right. And it's probably exactly the same that it goes from left to right here at the end, which is not what we want. So I'm going to click on the wipe element itself, and we see here that it brings up some properties. So first off, I want it not to be from along the x-axis. I don't want it to be horizontal. I want it to be vertical in nature. So we're going to go down to linear y. And so now, and I'm also going to click revert, which means that it reverses the direction of the transition. So now what should happen is that we go out like that. So the next thing is I'm going to make it a little slower by extending the wipe transition, and I'm going to increase the softness of it because actually I want it to be very gentle. So you can see it goes from a hard line to a soft one. So if we play that, there you go, just disappears like that. And we can do the same thing with the one coming in. So at the moment we have hard line there, and it's linear x. We want it to be linear y, and increase the softness. So what should happen is it just gently fades in. You can barely see it because the video is so white, but that's a beginning. At the very beginning, I'm just going to use the fade from black, which you can either do by saying add effect, fade from black, or actually in this case you can just simply go here where it suddenly turns into a hand cursor and drag like that. So what should happen is that it just comes in nicely like that. As you can see, even on my machine previewing this, scrubbing in the timeline is quite efficient, even while I'm recording the screen. Whereas if these were not proxied, it would be extremely jumpy and awful. Okay, let's add a second clip and transition that in as well. Let's take this one, for example. Now, we've got some audio on here as well, which I'm not going to want. So I'm going to split audio again. I'm going to go down and click Ungroup Clips and delete that audio track. And I'm just going to pull this over here. So we've got hiding in some weeds and then looking over a field. And now this is in the Czech Republic, or as they now call it, Czechia. Or someone calls it Czechia, not sure who. So first things again, I'm going to add the transition wipe. There are plenty of other options. I'm just using these ones as basics to experiment with. And on this one, again, I'm going to make it hideously soft so that it just merges in like that. We could also choose something else. Let's try, see what the cloud one has, what kind of effect that has. Should be sort of random blotchy. There you go, yeah. So that'll do. If we play that, we can get an idea of the actual speed that it takes on the transition. Quite nice, if ineffectual. Right, now I want to add another title clip, but these ones are full. I don't want to really move all my stuff down to the bottom, so I'm going to go and right click and insert track. Insert track above video 3, which is this one here, and it's a video track that I want to put in there, and we can actually call it something, so we don't need to title track, I don't know, something like that, whatever. Boom, there we go, we suddenly have a new track. And I want to add my title in as we start panning across this field here. So I'm going to right click, so I've left my cursor here, let's put it about there, that's where it starts leveling off. Right click and add title clip, show background again, and we can be all newfangled and type Czechia. We could just sort of plonk that directly there. Again, you can do all sorts of things with it. I'm not really out to do anything too exciting. Just drag that to there. So suddenly we have it's appearing out of nowhere. But it turns out roughly here, so if we add again, another wipe transition, click on the transition, we can see again it comes in with a very sharp line. And if we go again for linear Y, should come in like that, but we want to invert it this time so that it comes in from the bottom. And again, I'm going to make this very soft. So, nothing too exciting, but there you go. And at the end, I'm going to add another transition, wipe. And this time I actually might do linear the other way. Now again, because we're at the end, what's happening is it's coming in, its default is to enter. So I'm going to click revert so that it exits like that. So if we can make this again a bit slower and a bit softer, if we play this as we pan, voila. That's that. And then there are several other possibilities that you can do as well. So now I'm going to add another clip, which is just a pan of a forest. Let's also go along here and right-click, split audio. You can work with the audio and then export without audio if you want to remove the audio, but I prefer just to get rid of it all in this process. There. So now I'm going to move this across here, and we have end of that transition coming in. And now I'm going to use a different thing. It's called a fine. So add transition and then go to a fine. And this allows me much more specifically to control, well, a lot of different aspects. Because what it does is it applies an animation transition along the entire, wherever you want to. I've put it across the entire clip here. And then it allows you to use effects that are keyframeable along that affine line. So if we choose this time alpha gradient, what should happen is that we get, as you see here, move this in, half of the screen, the top half is the forest, which I've just brought in, and the other half is the wheat fields and so on from before. So what I would like to do here is maybe to change the tilt. So it comes in roughly like that from the left. Change the transition width as well. This essentially is a bit like the softness of the wipe. And the position we can change the beginning to almost non-existent. Hold on, let's make sure that we've got this right. Right. Yeah, put the position down to here. And then at this point, we can add keyframes to it. We can, this is the first one, which is 0, and this is the second one, which is the end at the moment. But if we scrub to roughly here, we can then bring all this in. So it starts to merge with the rest. And we can add another keyframe. Again, it automatically goes to the end. What we'll do is we'll scrub to think about here, and then we can start to change the tilt for fun. So now we have the wheat fields on the bottom and the forest at the top, whereas before it was the forest on the left and the wheat fields on the right. And again, we can carry on, add a new keyframe, scrub to another position, and tilt it all the way to the right. So it's there, and increase the position so it starts to fade out all of the wheat fields. And then the final one we can add, which is just at the end, where we obliterate it completely. There you go. So that's that. Now I'm just going to also change one thing, because I'm going to render this out in a minute, which you won't have to wait around for. But I'm going to edit the title clip. And just move Spain up a little bit. And I'm going to give it a bit more density. Oops. And I'm going to ruin it completely. Excellent. Put it up there. Or here. Because once I've rendered it out, I'm going to take the rendered clip and I'm just going to letterbox it and do some final touches to it. There you are. So render this out. I'll also fade to black at the very end using the little finger cursor. So now this should just fade nicely out. There we go. So rendering this, render project, and I've got more options selected. export audio is normally by default is selected. I've taken it off just in case I left some audio in there, which I don't want. You can specify the encoder speed, the number of threads, etc., etc. I think I only have 4, so it doesn't actually matter. You can choose the format. I'm sticking with WebM at the moment because it suits the various things I'll be doing. And give it a title. Check here, Spain. That's the location of it. You can also, I think you can just, what can you do that? Yeah, there you go. You can click to browse to a location and then save it there. Render to file, and it's now started the job off. And I'll go and make a cup of tea and see you in a minute. Okay then. So now it's exported, it's done. I'm now going to find the clip, and I've started a new little project. So I'm going to find it and just drag it in, check Spain, there we are. And it's going to proxy it, which is going to take a few moments. I mean, really what I should have done is not added the titles, put my clips together, then brought them in here, then done some, nice color grading or contrast and adding the titles and letterboxing it, because I quite like the letterbox effect. But I'll do it the other way around, even knowing that it's not the right way to do it. Right, and it's finished. Here's the proxied file. So this is the end result of our pointless endeavor. And you can see here the last alpha manipulation that we did. As I say, it has no value, but just to show at least that it's doable. There you go. And the forest is pretty much taken over. So, put this down here again, and now in the effects group you got a lot of different things. If you put in color, spelled the American way, you got color keys, color levels, color matrix, etc. Technicolor, which is quite insane, makes it extremely bright. This we can actually make this a bit bigger, so you can see more of what's going on. Right. So bright, vivid colors, and get rid of that. These are effect stacks, so you can add lots of different ones to it. So if we do contrast, oops, we can pull that up or down, as you see, massively changes. We can also do things such as saturation, and if we get rid of Technicolor and remove some of the saturation, so it all becomes very desaturated. And then at this point what we can do is we can add curves, and you can choose a channel here to generally change the tint of the entire thing. Again, oops, not like that. But yeah, some basic examples. And you can obviously just browse through these things here as well. Huge amount of possibilities. Crop and transform. Now here's our letterbox, which I do like. It tends to give things a sort of cinematic feel. We can change it maybe to 250. Spain is still in the frame. So we get rid of the saturation one and go back to contrast, bring that up a little bit more again. Looks quite vivid, quite decent. There's a nice feature here which is probably a little late to do it, and I'm not sure if it even will. In clip jobs, when you right click on your original footage, you can click stabilize, and it comes up here with a load of different options. So if you have film that was taken on a shaky or on a camera with a shaky hand, which is in my case, then you can stabilize it to a certain extent. There is a lot of jitter that tends to happen around that as the algorithms compensate for the shakiness, but in some cases it can really rescue a video. It's quite nice. There are also a lot of audio filters and things there. For example, if we wanted to add an audio track, where are they? There they are. So I'll just put in a random track here, which you won't be able to hear now, unfortunately, because I haven't got the volume linked from the audio. But again, you can apply these audio effects here, plenty of them. I mean, I prefer generally dealing with Ardour when it comes to audio. I like the filters and the way it live previewing and this sort of thing. But you can also do basic things in here as well. So, and that was it, really. I think just for the beginning, it gives you a general idea of the very nice features that Kdenlive actually has. I hope that helps. Thank you.